So now that Vyasadeva has written Srimad Bhagavatam, what did he do after that? Suta Goswami is saying, after writing and refining the Srimad Bhagavatam, basically he is editing the Srimad Bhagavatam, which already was existing. And now that he edited it, he wanted to teach it to someone. So he chooses to teach to his son, Sukadeva Goswami. And Suta Goswami is saying he was already self-realized, Nivritta Nirataha. So we will see that. And today's section is Vyasadeva teaching Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. And the theme is why even a liberated soul would study Bhagavatam. So that is how Bhagavatam's glory is being expressed in this section of 4 verses. That it is not just, okay, Vyasadeva taught to Sukadeva Goswami, but Sukadeva Goswami, being a monastic, self-realized, liberated soul, makes the important theme for this section. That why would a liberated soul like Sukadeva study Bhagavatam? So that is the prominent theme we'll be discussing in this 4 verses. So the verse 8 is Samhitam Bhagavatim Kritvanukramya Chatmajam Shukam Adhyapayamasa Nivritti Niratam Munihi. So Samhitam. After writing that in the previous verse, 6th verse, Bhagavatam was referred to as Satvata Samhita. So after writing that Samhita about the Supreme Lord Bhagavatim, Kritva Anukramya, after what you call, like after editing and compiling that whole Samhita, Cha Atmajam. Atmajam means one son. So he actually taught it to his son Atmajam Shukam Adhyapayam, means basically he taught him. Who's that Shuka? What was the speciality of Shuka? He was already a Nivritti Niratam Munihi. He was already self-realized. And the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. He says Srimad Bhagavatam is so made that one becomes at once engaged in the path of self-realization simply by hearing the topics. So the potency of Bhagavatam is being, what you call, relayed by Srila Prabhupada here. Simply by hearing the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, we immediately set out on the path of self-realization. And he says, although it is especially meant for Paramahamsas, even in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it is said, Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam. So it is meant for Nirmatsaranam Satam. It is meant for Paramahamsas. Although it is especially meant for Paramahamsas, Prabhupada is writing, or those who are totally engaged in self-realization, it works into the depths of the hearts of those who may be worldly men. There is also an important verse in the 10th canto. Let me see if I can pull it up. So that verse also speaks that how Srimad Bhagavatam, or the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, is Nivritta Tarshay Rupagiyamanat Bhavaushadhat Shrotra Manobhiramat Kauttama Shloka Gunanuvadat Puman Virajeta Vina Pashugnat. So the commentary says that how the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is relished by all kinds of people. Such means what you call Bhavaushada, means it can act like a medicine for the material, right medicine for the material disease of a conditioned living entity. Shrotra Manobhiramat, for a great soul who is already purified, it can give complete Manobhirama. It can completely attract the mind and give pleasure to that. So it can act for someone who is diseased, it can act like a medicine. For someone who is healthy, it can act like an elixir, it can act like a nutritious drink. As Rupa Goswami also compares the names of Krishna to sugarcane juice. If somebody has jaundice, the sugarcane juice tastes like bitter but acts like a medicine. But if we are in good health in summer, then sugarcane juice is the very satisfying drink to have. Similarly, Krishna's pastimes can act like Bhava Aushada as a medicine for material disease, or Shrotra Manobhiramat, that which actually attracts and pleases one's mind. So here also we see the same thing Prabhupada is writing, that how that Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for Paramahamsas, but it can also work into the depths of the hearts of those who may be worldly men. So then we may question, oh, who's a worldly man? And Prabhupada is writing a definition of who's a worldly man. So worldly men are all engaged in sense gratification. So to the extent we are engaged in sense gratification, to that extent we are also worldly. But even such men will find in this Vedic literature a remedial measure for their material diseases. So Bhagavatam is the remedial measure for the material disease of a worldly person. Though it is actually meant for a Nivritta Niratam Munihi, means one who is a Paramahamsa like Sukadeva Goswami. And then Prabhupada also, I'm not reading the whole purport, these are just some lines from the purport. He also writes, the theme of Srimad Bhagavatam is the cure of the material disease of the human being. or stopping completely the pangs of material existence. So Bhagavatam, yes, a lot of people can read or hear Bhagavatam for various purposes, good stories, entertainment, at least pious entertainment. So many reasons that people may be hearing Bhagavatam. But the main theme, the reason for Srimad Bhagavatam's compilation is curing the materialistic disease of the human being, stopping completely the pangs of material existence. So in this way, Prabhupada is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. And here in this verse, we saw how Vyasadeva, after compiling Bhagavatam, taught it to his own son, Sukadeva Goswami, who was completely self-realized already. Nivritti Niratam Munihi. So I'll be repeating certain things because these are technical terms used in commentaries like Jiva Goswami, and also to bring about the glories of devotional service. And the Nivritta Narataha will continue in other verses also. We see again in 9th verse, Shaunaka is asking a question. Naturally, this comes to one's mind. If he was self-realized, what is the need for him to study Srimad Bhagavatam? So it's a natural question because there was a special emphasis that was kept on the Nivritti Niratam Munihi, that Shukadev Goswami was already self-realized. So there was an emphasis there, and Shaunaka is naturally being an attentive audience, catching that emphasis. Okay, if he was already self-realized, what was the need for him to actually study Srimad Bhagavatam? So that's the question of Shaunaka Rishi. So he's asking Shaunaka Vacha, Savai Nivritti Nirata Sarvatropekshako Munihi Kasyava Brahatim Yetam Atmarama Samabhyasat. So Shaunaka is asking Suta Goswami that Sri Shukadeva Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, Nivritti Nirataha, and thus he was pleased with his own self. And Atmarama, he was not just a namesake Muni or anything, he was Atmarama, he was completely self-satisfied. And he had no interest about anything in this world. Sarvatra upekshako munihi. So his quality was Sarvatra upekshaka. So he even did not care for his father. Sarvatra upekshaka. To that extent, his own great father, he did not worry about him. As soon as he was born, he just kept walking out. So in Sarvatra means in every respect, upekshaka means indifferent. And he was a completely self-realized and completely indifferent to anything material in every respect. There was nothing in this world which was materialistic could attract him. So in that way, he was completely pleased in himself. Atma aramaha. He was completely self-satisfied. Kasya, for what reason? Brihatim means Bhagavatam is huge, 18,000 verses. So it's a Brihatim, means it is a huge scripture. Kasyava Brihati Meta means for what reason did he undergo some samabhyasat, complete studies? Why did he undergo, for what reason he undergo study of this vast literature of Srimad Bhagavatam? So naturally, Shaunaka Rishi is having this question, like why? And in the purport, Prabhupada is speaking about a good theme, that how everyone is searching after the highest pleasure, but the standard of pleasure, because it is basically related to Atma Aramaha, that how a self-realized soul is indifferent to material enjoyment. So to bring that point, he is saying that how everyone is searching after highest pleasure, but the standard of pleasure of one may be different from the standard of another. So be it a self-realized sage or a worldly person, everybody is looking for highest pleasure. It's just that there is a different standard of enjoyment. Therefore, the standard of pleasure enjoyed by the karmis is different that of the Atmaramas. Here, Shukadeva Goswami is that Atmarama. The Atmaramas are completely indifferent to material enjoyment in every respect. So, who's an Atmarama is not that little bit indifferent, completely indifferent to material enjoyment in every respect. And Srila Shukadeva Goswami had already attained that stage. He was not like trying, Muni in progress. No, he was already fully self-realized sage. And still he was attracted to undergo the trouble of studying the great Bhagavatam literature. So Prabhupada makes a very beautiful point in the next line that, okay, he was fully self-realized and indifferent, still he was attracted. That means Bhagavatam is not material. And more than that, he makes a very wonderful statement here. This means that Srimad Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study for even for the Atmaramas, because already Shukadeva Goswami has attained the stage of Atmarama. That means he has graduated on the level of Atmarama. So if he's taking up to something after graduating to be an Atmarama, that means it's a post-graduation. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study even for the Atmaramas who have surpassed all the studies of Vedic knowledge, because on that level of Nivritti Nirata, they are not even bound to study Vedic knowledge. They are called as Nirgrantha. They become, what do you call, they no more need to even study Vedic literature on that level of self-realization. That's why they are called as Nirgrantha. And here, even though he has surpassed all the Vedic knowledge, studies of Vedic knowledge, still he takes up to Bhagavatam because it's a postgraduate study. So we can only imagine how the position of Srimad Bhagavatam, how superior it is. And the next verse is, it's a shame that I would be covering it in a few minutes, because one, I lack understanding and realization. At the same time, yeah, that's the only thing I can say, because this verse, the 1.7.10 in the Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu multiple times. He spoke, I think, 18 different meanings to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And then, apart from those, he spoke 61 meanings to Sanatan Goswami when he met Sanatan Goswami in Varanasi. You can imagine how long the conversation would have been. He explained 61 different meanings of this verse in order to bring about the glories of bhakti. And so this verse is a very important verse used in many places to establish the position of Bhagavatam and also establish the position and the glories of devotional service. Jiva Goswami also uses it many times. And we can only imagine if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted this verse and took the trouble to explain this verse like around 80 plus times, how much important the verse is. And it's also a memorizable verse very easily. It's one of the famous verses to be memorized. Atmaramascha munayo suta uvacha Atmaramascha munayo nirgranta api urukrame kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim itham bhuta guno harihi. If you read the purport of this verse, Prabhupada also lists meaning of each word. He lists actually 11 important words from this verse, pretty much every word. And then he gives a commentary for each of the words. Even Prabhupada, I would say, he was very conservative in the commentary size that he gave to this verse. So we can go through it. The translation for this is that all different varieties of Atmaramas, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, Cha Munayo, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, Nirgranta Api, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. Kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim urukrame. So this means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities, ittam bhuta guno, therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. Harihi. That's why he is called as Hari. So we will go to the purport of Prabhupada, take our time. And if you, okay, one thing I can do is I can just project the purport. That becomes easy for everyone. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this Atmarama Shloka very vividly before his chief devotee, Srila Sanatan Goswami. To be exact, he explains 61 different meanings. He points out 11 factors in the shloka. He chooses 11 words from the shloka, which is pretty much all the words. Atmarama cha munayaha nirgranta api urukrama kuruvanti ahaitukim bhaktim ittam bhuta gunaha harihi. The whole verse pretty much. According to the, and now how they go about is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes each different meaning for each of those words and then explains a particular meaning which brings about bhakti, the glories of devotional service, the attractive qualities of Krishna. In this way, he explains devotional service. So the first introduction is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation of the Atmarama verse. That Prabhupada lists 11 words. That is covered. And the second section of the purport is the synonyms and meanings of the word Atma. This is like what you call very technical for me also, but we are excited because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was excited about this verse. That's the only reason. After that, Prabhupada is like translating the 7 meanings of the word Atma. And the 7 meanings of the word Atma are Brahman, body, mind, endeavor, endurance, intelligence, and personal habits. And we can see this word, these meanings are all used in the Bhagavad Gita also whenever the word Atma comes. Sometimes it is body, sometimes it is mind, sometimes it is intelligence, sometimes it's personal habits, sometimes it is Brahman. All of that is surely used in the Bhagavad Gita, at least the 4 of them for sure, 5 of them. And Munaya is those who are thoughtful, those who are grave and silent, ascetics, the persistent, mendicants, sages, and saints. Predominantly here, for this particular translation, Prabhupada has used Atma as, what do you call, like mind. And also he has used the things sages and saints who are grave and silent. And Nirgrantha, the word means one who is liberated from nishayans. Nirgrantha means one who has actually come to such level of spiritual advancement that his life is non-different from scripture. So he does not need to study scriptures. Rather, people have to study them in order to understand the scripture. So that is this person's stage. But studying this person, by looking at this person's example, the scriptural imports become clear. So they just live scripture. So they have become so liberated from nescience and so advanced that they are beyond scriptural injunctions or studying as a sadhana every day you have to study. No, it's all revealed in their heart. So Shabda has become pratyaksha for them. So they're just living that scripture and it is revealed in their heart. So they don't need to read an external book or anything in order to be connected with the Supreme Lord. The pastime we are trying to read is already revealed in their hearts. The consciousness we are trying to read is already attained by them. So they are nirgrantha. This is one kind of person. And the second kind of person is who has no connection with scriptural injunction, or basically this person is not obliged to follow the rules and regulations of the grantha. So who are they? The people who are like mentally challenged, maybe illiterate if they never studied anything, and people who live in the forest, tribals in the terms, not like the sages who live in the forest, people who have absolutely no ability to grasp, like fools in the sense, the word is a harsh word in today's connotation. Basically, people who have no intelligence or study, and especially people who have lost their mental ability. So they have no connection. They are not obliged, even by law. Imagine if someone proves that they are mentally unstable, they can get away doing even a crime. So even the normal society does not apply their rules on them. So similarly, even the scriptural rules cannot be fully applied on them. And the third meaning for the word nirgrantha is a capitalist. And fourth meaning of nirgrantha is one who is penniless, who has no money. So here in this verse, we are taking the first meaning, one who is liberated from nescience. That he has become, Sukadeva Goswami in this particular example has become so advanced that he has no need for scriptural studies. According to the Shabda Kosha dictionary, the affix ni, because we are speaking now about the word nirgrantha, we are expanding that word. Ni can have four meanings: certainty, counting, building, and forbiddance. But here we are using in the context of forbiddance. I'm specifically referring to the translation that Prabhupada has given us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have explained in various ways, but here we are speaking in terms of what Prabhupada has given us specifically. Ni in this translation is used as forbiddance. Nirgrantha, that no grantha. So grantha is used in the sense of wealth, thesis, vocabulary, etc. We use in the sense of thesis, Vedic knowledge, grantha, book, Vedic, Vedas basically. So nirgrantha, no Vedas, but they're basically no obligation to study Vedas. Especially in Jnana Yoga, study is an important aspect, but this person has realized. So no more grantha. And the next word is urukrama. The word urukrama means one whose activities are glorious. So krama means step. Kramenaiva praliyate Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam. So we use this word krama in many Sanskrit words we have seen. Krama means gradual. Kramenaiva praliyate means bhakti will gradually, the consciousness will come gradually. So krama means step. Uru means big. So who took a big step, that is especially Vamanadev, who covered the whole universe by immeasurable steps. Uru Krama, huge steps. So Lord Vishnu is powerful and his activities are so glorious that he has created the spiritual world by his internal potency and the material world by his external potency. What are his great steps? Not just in measuring the world, but in the way he has created the world. That the spiritual world has certain rules, the material world has certain rules, they are under different potencies, and he has created all that. That's also a Uru Krama. He has great activities he has performed by his all-pervading features, and he is present everywhere. The different worlds have different natures, but he is present everywhere. And in his personal feature, he is always present in his transcendental abode, and he is all-pervading in the material world also. So in this way, his pastimes are mind-blowing. So his activities cannot be compared to anyone else's. Therefore, the word Urukrama is just applicable to Lord Hari only, Lord Krishna only, or Lord Vishnu, and not to anybody else. So Urukrama could be anybody, right? Because this word does not say that they are dedicated to Lord Vishnu. It could be anybody. No, but specifically, his activities cannot be compared to anyone else's. And therefore, the word Urukrama is just applicable to specifically Krishna also. We can say Krishna only. And the next word is Kurvanti Ahaitukim Bhaktim. Kurvanti, according to the Sanskrit verbal arrangement, Kurvanti refers to doing things for someone else. Not for one's own pleasure, doing things for someone else. Therefore, it means that the Atmaramas render devotion service unto the Lord, not for personal interest, but for the pleasure of the Lord. Urukrama, Kurvanti. Urukrama, Kurvanti. Means for the pleasure of Urukrama, they do it. Otherwise, it could be for one's own personal benefit also, we can worship. But here, Atmaramas do it only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Hetu means causal. Cause. Hetu is cause, we all know. So there are many causes for one's sense satisfaction. So here, I'm not going to read the whole section of the purport. Prabhupada basically summarizes saying there can be many causes. There can be many reasons for one's performing devotional service. It could be for material enjoyment. It could be for siddhis, as in the case of the yogis, or it could be for liberation, which are 5 types of liberation. It could be any of these categories. Basically, bhukti, mukti, and siddhi. 3 things: enjoyment, liberation, or yogic powers. One can perform devotional service for any of these things. But Prabhupada says no. But here we are speaking about unalloyed devotion. Kurvanti ahaitu bhakti. Ahetu. There is no other cause. The only cause is pleasure of Krishna. So, therefore, unalloyed devotion means service to the Lord without desire for the above mentioned personal benefits. And the Lord Krishna can be fully satisfied by such unalloyed devotees, free from all sorts of desires for personal benefit. So he's just giving an explanation for the word ahaituki. And again, he speaks bhakti, means ahaituki bhakti. How does it progress? There are many types of bhakti, right? So sadhana bhakti and all that. So he says the bhakti before sadhana level can be covered by material tendency. So that is also different kinds of bhaktis are there. But still, we begin at least at the level of sadhana bhakti, unalloyed practice of sadhana bhakti. Then it matures into transcendental love. And he speaks about how, what are the stages of transcendental love. And he also speaks how the different rasas, how they develop. He speaks about shants, friendly, sakiras, vatsalya, and madhurya. He speaks all of that in this particular paragraph. Then, now that we have seen the definition of Atma and also what you call Atmaramascha Munayo, Nirgranta, Api, Urukrama, and we also saw the word meaning for Kurvanti, Ahaituki, Bhakti. So now the last line, Ittam Bhuta Gunoharihi, we are going to take. Ittam Bhuta means complete bliss. And so Prabhupada speaks about there is transcendental bliss in impersonal Brahman, and he compares it with the transcendental bliss that comes from Bhakti. And he says there is no comparison because the personal form of Sri Krishna is so attractive that it comprehends all attraction, all bliss, and all taste. Because we are so sometimes doubtful, what if I become so attracted to Krishna? What will happen to all the attractions and the experiences now I have? Will I continue to have them? So we may have a theoretical faith, yes, Krishna is so attractive, but psychologically we may still be doubtful. So that's why Prabhupada here is writing. The personal form of the Lord is so attractive that it comprehends all attraction, all bliss, and all taste. So these attractions are so strong that no one wants to exchange them for material enjoyment, mystic powers, and liberation. Means that no one is basically who's already experiencing. One who has not got that experience surely is looking for lower enjoyments. But here, this no one is the Atmarama who has already experienced. And Prabhupada says there is no need of logical arguments in support of this statement. It's funny. Like he's saying, no, we are not ready to argue this logically because out of one's own nature, one becomes attracted by the qualities of Lord Krishna. Because rasa is coming into picture, there cannot be any logic because it is according to one's own nature. Why a person is attracted to Krishna in this ras or that ras, there is no logic there. It's one's own nature. So they say, the heart has many reasons, which reason does not know of. Because here, it's because of one's own nature. One becomes attracted to the qualities of the Lord Krishna. Logic cannot explain it. The heart has many reasons that reason has no idea of. So we must know for certain that the qualities of the Lord have nothing to do with mundane qualities. And we may say, oh, how are these people attracted to these qualities? That's why Prabhupada is saying, no, the qualities of the Lord are not mundane qualities. All of them are full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. And those qualities are also innumerable. So one is attracted by one quality, while another is attracted by another. One devotee may be attracted by Krishna's mercy. Another devotee could be attracted by Krishna's beauty. Another devotee could be attracted by Krishna's compassion. So in this way, there can be many qualities of Krishna, and different devotees can be attracted by different quality. So if you have to think, what is that one quality of Krishna which really attracts you? So you can meditate on that. So in the next paragraph, Prabhupada gives the example of how different devotees are attracted by different qualities. And Let me look at the notes so it becomes easy for me. So I don't need to spend a lot of time reading the whole thing. So Prabhupada is listing 4 Kumaras who got attracted by the fragrance of the Lord's flowers and sandalwood pulp. Flowers like tulsi leaves, which are touched, which are covered in sandalwood pulp or dipped in sandalwood pulp. Sukadeva Goswami, attracted by the Lord's pastimes, despite he was completely liberated, he heard the Lord's pastimes and he got attracted. The gopis attracted by Lord's bodily beauty. Rukmini Devi got attracted by hearing about the glories of the Supreme Lord. And it said Krishna even attracts the mind of goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who is most chaste to Lord Narayan. And he attracts the elderly gopis through parental affection, Vatsalya. And he attracts the elderly men through Vatsalya, but same age through servitude and friendship, Sakya and Dasya. So in this way, the Lord Krishna can attract different people in different ways. He can attract. So different qualities may attract different devotees. And the last word, Hari, is being taken now. Thank you for your patience. We are in the last word, Hari. The word Hari conveys various meanings, but the chief import of the word is that he, that means the Lord, vanquishes everything inauspicious. Because the word Hari can have so many meanings. One who steals everything inauspicious, one who actually destroys all the sins, all the things that cause bondage, can be many meaning. Sarvam harati iti harihi. And he takes away everything inauspicious. But the most important definition of Hari means he attracts the minds of the devotee. He attracts the minds of devotee. That is also one of the definition of Hari. That is also an important part. And he attracts the minds of a devotee. Bhakto, I'm just Chittam Harati iti Harihi. He who steals the heart with his charm and beauty, he is also called as Hari. Dukkham Harati iti Harihi. One who takes away the suffering of his devotee is also called as Hari. Bhava Bandham Harati iti Harihi. One who removes the bondage of material existence, he is also called as Hari. Papam Harati iti Harihi. He who removes all sins is also called as Hari. So there can be many meanings for Hari, but here why Chittam Harati Harihi is taken is this Atmarama is not concerned about Papam Harati, is not concerned about Bhava Bandham Harati, is not concerned about other things, because he's above all of those things. There is no Bhava Bandha, he is already liberated. There is no Papa, everything is nullified. And he's not, the only thing is he is not attracted to anything. He's just attracted to the Brahman enjoyment. Because the enjoyment that Krishna provides is higher, then his mind can be attracted. Because it is also spiritual, his mind can be attracted. That's why Prabhupada takes this particular meaning, that takes away the mind of the devotee by awarding pure transcendental love. This meaning he emphasizes. Though the word means vanquishes, can also mean vanquishes everything inauspicious. The main meaning that is taken for this word in this verse is the one who takes away the mind of his devotee. So by remembering the Lord in acute distress, one can be free from all varieties of miseries and anxieties. This is also an important statement. Prabhupada saying, how can we actually be relieved from the acute distress that we experience? Is that at times of difficulty that we remember the Supreme Lord. That is the important way in which we can actually engage in devotional service, especially in times of difficulty. So that's why Prabhupada is writing here, by remembering the Lord in acute distress, one can be free from all varieties of miseries and anxieties. Gradually, the Lord vanquishes all obstacles on the path of devotional service of a pure devotee, and the result of 9 devotional activities, such as hearing, chanting, becomes manifested. So once we remember the Lord, even in times of acute distress, especially when we cannot even understand why this thing is happening in our life, when it is completely beyond our intelligence, when it is completely beyond our logical ability to understand why I'm going through this, especially in those moments when we have faith in Krishna, that whatever Krishna does will be for my good. And when we impose that faith on Krishna at that time, so gradually the Lord vanquishes all obstacles on the path of a devotion service of a pure devotee. And what is the result? The result of 9 devotional activities becomes manifested. Whatever chanting and hearing we have done, the results of it will manifest. And that is our complete faith in Krishna and also attraction to chanting and hearing about Krishna that will manifest. So by his personal features and transcendental attributes, the Lord attracts all psychological activities of a pure devotee. So attracts all psychological activities. Such is the attractive power of Lord Krishna. So this is all the explanation of the word Hari. The attraction is so powerful that a pure devotee never hankers for any one of the four principles of religion, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are the attractive features of the transcendental attributes of the Lord. That's why he's called as Hari. And adding to this the words api and cha, one can increase the imports unlimitedly. Means api and cha are, which enhances these meanings. According to the Sanskrit grammar, there are 7 meanings for the word api, and Prabhupada did not bother to give those. So we are going to skip that. And so by interpreting each and every word of the shloka, one can see what is the idea of this whole shloka. Why are we going through so much Sanskrit? Because we can see how unlimited number of transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna that attract the mind of a pure devotee. And here that pure devotee is Sukadeva Goswami, who was Atmarama, who was Nirgrantha, and still his mind was attracted to Krishna. So that is the whole idea of this verse. If things did not make any sense, why we spend so much time on this particular verse, the whole idea is to see how Lord Krishna can attract the mind of even an completely self-realized, completely indifferent to anything in this world, of a stature of Shukadeva Goswami. So that is the whole idea. And the next verse is हरेर गुणाक्षिप्तमतिर भगवान बादरायणि अद्यगान महद आख्यानम नित्यम विष्णु जनप्रिय. Sundaranand Prabhu, I will complete this verse and then I'll take your question. Hope that is okay. I'm not able to see you, but I can see your hand. So हरेर गुणाक्षिप्तमतिर, yes, Sundar Gopal Prabhu too. And Bhagavan Badarayani Adyagan Mahadakyanam Nityam Vishnu Janapriya. I have a slide for this, but let's go with this. Srila Sukadeva Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendently powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus, he underwent the study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Sutta Goswami is finally completing this topic by saying, Harer Guna Akshiptamatir. He, Guna Akshipta, being absorbed in mind of the transcendental attributes of the God. Harer Guna Akshiptamatir Bhagavan Badarayanihi Adyagad Mahadakyanam Nityam Vishnu Janapriya. That Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was not only transcendently powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees and he was completely absorbed in the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Thus, he underwent the study of this. Because he was fully absorbed, he was attracted to Krishna. That's why he took the trouble to study this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he's answering this question. Why did he take the trouble to study this Brihatim, this scripture, which is huge? He's saying, because Mahat Akyanam, Adyagat, underwent studies. He took this trouble because he was completely attracted by the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Because he got attracted, so he took the trouble. Sometimes we feel, who will read this? Is so huge, this is so big, because our heart is not attracted to Krishna. We are not eager to know about Krishna more and be attracted to her, and we are not fully attracted to his qualities. So it is like a medicine for Bhagavatam is like a medicine for us. We have to make a schedule. Every day I'll read this much, or every week I'll read this much, or we have to, like when I have to give a class, then I have to force myself to study. Okay, what is there in the purport? So we have to make it into a schedule, routine, and it is more like a medicine for us. But when one's mind is fully attracted to Krishna's transcendental attributes, then Bhagavatam becomes the natural place they go. Whenever they have time, they say, what is the home of a pure devotee? Internally, the home of a pure devotee is Krishna's pastimes. As soon as there is a gap from their things that they have to do, they naturally go back to the home setting. That home setting is thinking about Krishna. So because they are attracted already to Krishna, it becomes easy to study Srimad Bhagavatam. And because we don't, we have to make endeavor. We have to create a schedule. We have to create discipline to read. Otherwise, it will never happen because we are anyway not attracted. And naturally, we will go towards material things because we are naturally attracted to those things. So sadhana means to create schedule. So as an austerity to actually start reading it so that eventually we'll fall in love. And so we'll continue to read Bhagavatam without any resistance. So in the purport also, Prabhupada explains one history of how Sukadeva Goswami came to hear about Bhagavatam. So this is given in Brahma Vaivarta Puran that before his birth, Vyasadeva knew this child will take birth and would not stay at home. So he gave a little bit before, like a little taste before. And then eventually, because he gave that initial impression, eventually he taught Swami more about Bhagavatam. So this is one version of the story because there are different versions. There is also another version that Sukadeva Goswami took birth, he left home, and when Vyasadeva edited it, he remembered his son. Oh my God, my son is a self-realized person. He'll be so impressed with this if he happens to hear. But the problem is he does not want to hear anything and he runs away from everything. So he sends the forest fruit collectors and forest dwellers, to actually, along with them, he sent some of his disciples to see where he is, to find, and some more to be at a distance, but here sing these pastimes of Krishna, especially the pastime of Putana, deliverance of Putana. So all those verses about Putana, the pastime, and also how Krishna enters into the forest. Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishat Gita Kirte. So that verse. And also the verse about Krishna delivering Putana, that Kambadayalam Sharanam Vrajema. That even who can be more merciful than this Lord? That he gave Datrim the position of a nurse for someone who came to kill him by feeding poison. So even to her, he was so merciful. So who can be more? Where can you find a more merciful Lord? So that those two verses, it is said, was recited. And that's the story of how I came to Krishna consciousness of Sukadeva Goswami. So he heard it, he got attracted. He's thinking, oh, how is this thing attracting my mind? If this thing is attracting my mind, it cannot be material. That's the quality of his consciousness. Yudhishthira Maharaj says, when he says all of the five can marry Draupadi, he says to everyone, hey, if this thought has come to my mind, this cannot be adharmic. If in my mind I'm thinking it's okay for all the five of us to marry Draupadi, it cannot be adharmic, because that is with a confidence that Maharaj could say that he is son of Dharmaraj, that there is not even a space in his mind or consciousness for an adharmic thought. There is no way he can even think of anything adharmic to do. That is his level of consciousness. So Sukadeva Goswami is thinking, oh, if I got attracted, this must be so spiritual. Okay, then that's how he gets attracted. This is another version we have heard. And the idea is that Prabhupada is saying that generally the liberated souls are attached to the feature of impersonal Brahman. So Prabhupada is moving on. First, he told the background story. Now he is coming into this verse that Nityam Vishnu Jana Priya, that Sukadeva Goswami was Nityam Vishnu Jana Priya. Because there was a mercy of the devotees on him, he became a devotee. The other meaning is, because he became a devotee, devotees became dear to him, and he became dear to devotees. So there are two meanings. That Vyasadeva was a devotee and he had his mercy on him. So that's why Prabhupada is writing. The generally liberated souls are attached to the impersonal feature, but they are not attached to the personal feature. But here the but is most important. In the case of Sukadeva Goswami, by the association of pure devotees like Vyasadeva, even the liberated soul becomes attracted to the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So this word mercy is also very important. By the mercy of Sri Narada, Vyasadeva got Bhagavatam. He could narrate. And because of the mercy of Vyasadeva, because these are great devotees, Srila Sukadeva Goswami was able to grasp the import. So if we want to understand Bhagavatam, we need not just intellectual ability to study, and not just the discipline to study, however, also the mercy of great devotees. So it is said in the Bhagavatam also that Mahat Sevayam Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana, that Shushusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana, that who develops eagerness to hear Bhagavatam, those people who actually get to serve a great pure devotees of the Lord. So whenever you get that opportunity in life, then taking it seriously, finding ways to serve great devotees in many ways. There are many ways. There's not only one way. Even your chanting of Hare Krishna sincerely is a great service to your spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada. In given your circumstances and abilities and resources, whatever service, the attitude of a sincere servant, and even the chanting when it is done as a mood of being a servant of one spiritual master, it is the greatest service. So basically in the mood of wanting that mercy of great devotees. Without that, we will not be able to understand the import of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the transcendental qualities of the Lord are so attractive that even Sukadeva Goswami became detached from impersonal Brahman and became attached to personal form of the Lord. So people become completely detached from everything and get attached to impersonal Brahman. Here Sukadeva Goswami become detached from impersonal Brahman and positively took up the path of bhakti. And that is one part. And the other part, basically Prabhupada is saying that initially Sukadeva Goswami was not so much attached to devotees because he even gave up his father and went to forest. But now he became a devotee. He desired always the transcendental association of devotees, and the devotees also liked him because now he has become attracted. So the question as to how Sukadeva Goswami was attracted to the narration of Bhagavatam is thus completely answered by this shloka. Basically, by the mercy of devotees, he got Bhagavatam. That is the answer in short. So from next verse, we change topic. We go into the actual narration of the Bhagavatam from like the story of Parikshit Maharaj from 12th verse. So we'll stop it here, and it's also 10. So we can take questions now for a while. So I'm going to stop my share. Okay. Hare Krishna. I do see Sundar Gopal Prabhu, Mother Gail, Sundar Anand Prabhu had raised hands earlier. Sundar Anand Prabhu, you want to go first? Let's go. Democracy. You raise hands first.
So Atmarama Verse itself, you explained it really well. So that's all fine. Just the context of where the rishis of Naimisharanya are coming from. So there's the question they're asking what they're asking is why is Vyasadeva taking the trouble of reading this vast literature? So I'm just trying to understand, wouldn't someone who's self-realized be involved in reading something that is advanced and devotional, similar to the Bhagavatam? Why is there like a surprise there? I'm just trying to understand the context of the question.
Because they know who is Sukadeva Goswami. He is like completely like indifferent, and he's just always absorbed in meditation, because scriptures are for people who have no realization, ideally speaking, because when a person is realized, it is revealed in their heart already. So ideally, external studies for people who have not yet realized internally things to some extent. I'm not saying it is like even Prabhupada read books. It's not that he was not realized, but in the level of impersonal path, for them, Jnana Yoga, you engage until you actually realize the Brahman. Once you realize Brahman, Grantha goes back, because Jnana Yoga, the Jnana is used as a step. Once that is achieved, it is given up. Once you come to the level of Naishkarmya, means detached consciousness, work is given up. Jnana means you have to first give up work. And at the level of perfection, that Jnana is also given up. It's absorption in Brahman. So then why is he taking the trouble to read? That's why they were like astonished. Oh my God, he is in that path, and why did he even take the trouble to study?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sundar Gopal Prabhu, Krishna.
Prabhu, I'll go after Gail, because as a principal, I can't speak before her.
Yes, let's all respect Mother Gail. She's the most senior in the room.
God, what do I say now? I don't know. Nothing. Okay, I do have a few points that you said, but I missed. Okay, so when Sukadeva Goswami got attracted to that verse about Putana, how merciful Krishna is, that even somebody like her got position of nurse. But there was a verse prior to that you said attracted him. Which was that one?
Vrindaranyam Swapadaramam Pravishad Gita Kirte. Just it's not coming. The first line is not coming to my mind. I can search it.
No, so just translation only.
So it is basically Venu Gita's beginning verse, explaining how Krishna is entering into the forest along with his Gopa friends.
That's it?
Yeah, so just hearing about it, he got attracted to Krishna. Swapada Ramanam, like how he's like the glories of and the beauty of, because the verse is very Barhapitam. Yes, Barhapitam Natavaravapam Karnayor Karanikaram. He says it explains the beauty of personal beauty, the form of Krishna. So one verse explains the qualities of Krishna, how merciful he is, and the other verse explains the personal beauty of Krishna. And when Sukadeva Goswami hears that, and when he gets attracted to that description of the form, he feels, oh my God, how can this be true, that I'm being attracted to a form? It's the complete breaking of the regulative principles of a impersonalist. That feeling attracted to a form, Karnayor Karnikaram, so he's having a blue lotus on his ears. So being attracted to a form is a complete no-no. And he feels, oh my God, like how is it possible that my consciousness gets attracted to this personal description? So both of this, one is the quality, the other one is the form of the Lord. When he feels that they both are attracting him.
Yeah, and as you said, because he knows himself so well, right?
Yes.
He knows that the only way he could be attracted to the description of a form is if it's a form that is beyond this material world.
Yes.
Okay. And that was a description of his form as he was walking into the Vrindavan forest? Or
yes, that is part of the 10th canto Venu Gita. So it is 10:21:5. This is the verse. I'll just post it in the chat. This is that verse. So this verse, okay, I'm posting everything to people waiting in the room. Yeah, so Barhapitam Natavaravapam Karnayor Karnikaram Vibrat Vasaha Kanakakapisham Vaijayantim Chamalam Randran Venor Adara Sudaya Apurayan Gopavindair Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishad Gita Kirte. That wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue Karnikara flowers on his ears, yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. So this was very attractive to Sukadeva Goswami.
It's very discouraging for me though, because
how did he get attracted? What's in this that is attractive? Please, Sukadeva Goswami. Next.
Yeah. While we're at it, do you mind just giving me the verse number for the Putana verse, if you have it?
Putana verse. Yes, I'll look up and then I'll post it.
Okay. Another question I had. Another point I missed was you were explaining about Krishna Swami's coming into Krishna consciousness. One is
the Aho Bakiyam Stana Kalakutam. This verse
means
Baki is the sister of Bakasur, Putana. That's Stana Kalakutam. She smeared poison on her breast, and then she came, and even though she was Asadvi, she had these ill motives. Krishna gave the highest destination of Datri as a nurse in the spiritual world. Kamba Dayalam Sharanam Vrajam. Where is there a person who's more merciful than that Lord, unto whom I can take shelter of.
Yeah, so that was the
First verse that
yeah,
they.
that was the first verse, but I'm not talking about the verses now. I'm talking about, or maybe this was what you were saying about the different versions
Hmm.
of how Sukadeva Goswami came
Yeah.
into Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
So
This one I heard from Radha Govinda Maharaj, and Prabhupada is quoting it from Brahma Vaivarta Puran. It's slightly different, so I have not heard much about it. I haven't read the Brahma Vaivarta Puran, but surely there are multiple stories. There are stories that how Sukadeva Goswami was a parrot of Srimati Radharani, and there are multiple different pastimes that I've heard. But
so you're saying that Sukadeva Goswami, having heard these two verses, right, the Venu Gita verse and the Putana verse, do these two verses constitute one version or two versions? I'm confused about the different versions that you're referring to.
I only know this much. One is Prabhupada's giving a reference in the purport.
About the Venu Gita verse, and
No, he is saying that before even he was born, Vyasadeva gave him some glimpses of Krishna's glories while in the womb. So that stayed with Sukadeva Goswami, and later after his birth, he educated him further. So there is no clarity that what he told before and how he leave home, and if he left home, how did Vyasadeva catch hold of him again, how he attracted his consciousness. That the details are not filled in Prabhupada's purport. But I may say it may not be even different. What Radha Govinda Maharaj I heard from him and what Prabhupada here is saying may not be even different. They may be saying sections of the same story.
okay, the confusion increases, but okay, I'll move on to my third question, which is, so it's just a really simple thing. I forget now who it was that Lord Chaitanya recited these 81 different versions of the Atmarama Verse.
First, he recited to explain to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Jagannath Puri in their initial discussions when he was trying to teach him, and then to Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi.
And that came after, no?
Yes, that came after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
I request Sundar Gopal to,
Yes.
I pass the baton to him.
Yes. After Sundar Gopal Prabhu, we'll take Shishri. Shishri, please hold on for a moment. Yes, Sundar Gopal Prabhu.
Actually, Prabhu, let her go first because she's joining us for the first time.
First time.
I'll go later.
Okay, now all of my honor has been dissipated now. Your lack of sincerity has come out.
No, but Gail, in general, I never go before you in anything. Even in the temple room, you notice I always stand behind you.
Yeah, because I'm running away from you always.
My vow in spiritual life is to always be behind you. Now I let someone else go in front, but either way, I never go in front of you.
Shishri, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope you joined from the beginning. I'm not sure. I saw you in between.
Yes, Prabhuji. So I'm 12 years old and I'm from India. I'm from Odisha. And I want to take notes of Bhagavatam. Like I have Bhagavatam fast canto, but I can't take notes of Bhagavatam. So how can I take the notes of Bhagavatam? So I can't also watch 1 hour video. I can join a Zoom session, but I can't watch a 1 hour video actually. So
Okay, I have some notes of the previous sessions. I'll forward you so you can take help of it, and you can see in the future sessions you can join and see how you can take notes.
Yes,
I'll give you
Prabhuji.
some reference.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Sundar Gopal Prabhu.
Prabhu, I think some of it got answered while you were answering Sundarananda and Gail, but I think the fact that they're asking this question, that how did Sukadeva Goswami get attracted, what was that text then? I think to me that implies that he was very advanced because he was completely detached from material, anything. He had no attractions for anything material or anything with this world. So he was advanced in that sense, materially. So materially we can say he was completely detached, he was completely advanced, but maybe spiritually he was still lacking. To me, that's the implication there, that he may have been advanced. Of course, not that I should say anything about Sukadeva Goswami, but to me, I think what that implies is, on one hand, he was very advanced, but in another place, there was still growth for him.
He was attached to the impersonal aspect and was not yet experiencing the personal aspect of the divine. So that part is.
So to me, it means that there's an implication that spiritually there was still growth needed. That
I
materially,
would it is more as a pastime. It is more as a pastime to bring about the glories of Bhagavatam, I would say personally. For him to go through those stages. So we can now use it as a reference to glorify the greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah. It's just telling for me, because even for someone who's Brahman realized, if there's still something that will continue to give them satisfaction, right? That implies that at that Brahman stage, it is not completed then. Whatever was giving them satisfaction at that particular stage, there's still another stage that can give them more satisfaction. So it's indicating an incompleteness.
Yes, sure.
Even in that on that spiritual side.
True.
Maybe materially he passed all the stages, but on the spiritual side, there's still more that one can aspire for. Which also makes me ask the question that even for someone to be completely detached for everything material, something has to be still attracting you on the spiritual side. Otherwise, you can't just, right? That's how we explain things. You can't just detach yourself from something. Something else has to be attracting you. Then you can give up something lower. So that means on the Brahman side, there is something attractive. But to me, I'm not understanding what on the Brahman side is attractive when there's no form or there's no...
That's why you're a devotee.
No, I'm asking. Is there something there that attracts?
Of course, Brahman is also the aspect of absolute truth.
But there's no feature. what part of
It's
Brahman
a
is
personality type. Some people prefer an impersonal destination or an impersonal absorption. Just peace could be a big thing for them. Relationship may not be a thing. So it's a different personality type. That's why even Krishna has allowed these kind of perfections to exist. Though they may not be as complete as personal realization, still in its own, it is beyond liberation. It is a liberated stage for sure. It's not when, as personalists, we may look down upon them and speak low of that. In and of itself, from the platform of spirituality, it is a very high level of realization. It's not anything which is cheap, because we say Brahmabhuta Prasannatmana Shochati na Kankshati. So that stage, achieving that stage is not easy. At the same time, it is not complete. So that is why I think I have to go. There has been continuous knocks on my door, and Gauranga Prabhu is coming today. So yes, we will see it. I hope that's good for you, Sundargopal Prabhu. It won't be good for me if I continue speaking here. So see you all. Hare Krishna.
okay, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.